Okay, so we're going to take a look at the Plateau today. We're going to pop the hood and let's check some things underneath the engine cover. We're going to lift up the hood here, a little latch on the left hand side. I'm going to drop the hood latch down for the bonnet, and we're going to go left to right. We have DEF fluid in these new ones, diesel exhaust fluid. You can find this at all your auto parts stores, Walmarts. You can get it on the truck stops going down the road. So there's a gauge for this on the dash cluster, and I'll show you how to operate that when we go inside. We also have engine coolant here. This is called Mercedes Pink, and we always want to use the same type of coolant, so you can go to, if you need to add to it, you can go to the auto parts store and ask for Mercedes Pink or at the Mercedes dealer. This is a cabin air filter intake, so the cabin air filter's on the passenger side below the dashboard. And it's your oil fill if you need to add oil. They run a full synthetic in this oil. It's a 0.30 weight, and the maintenance on this is normally 20,000 miles on the Mercedes, so we can go out 20,000 miles. I do recommend you take it to Mercedes for the first few times, so at least they can, as they're doing the oil change, they can also put the scanner on it and check for any recalls, safety bulletins, those sort of things. We got our air cleaner here in the top. There's no oil dipstick for this to check the oil level, but we can check it actually on the cluster inside, so we'll be showing you that as well. Brake fluid on the master cylinder. We can see the fluid level here in the reservoir. We have washer fluid here on the bottom right. This happens to be the oil filter down below you here. And then we have the jump start for the engine. So what we can do is we can actually hook up jumper cables here, the positive here, negative over here on the frame, and that's how we can access our battery for starting the engine remotely. And so that's what you would do for safety. You can also charge up your battery from this location if you have a battery tender or battery charger. I recommend you go out and start your rig at least a couple times a month and run it for a half hour to an hour, and just get in it and use it. We're going to drop the hood back down. I've got a step here for getting up onto the windshield, and I've also got a little port here in the front. I can take out that cover, and there's in the toolkit in the passenger side, there's actually a tow hook, and I can hook that tow hook in there and tow this out of a muddy spot, or I can actually tow it up on a flatbed safely. I'm going to walk around here. I'm going to look at my air pressures. Your air pressures are right here on the side of the door, and this is what we have them set for. 55 psi in the front, 58 on the rear duals. And you'll notice on the rear duals, we have a valve extender that goes into the inside tire. So we have, this is the outside here, and then this is the inside dual here, or the outside inside dual. So what you want to do here, if you ever go with tire sensor pressure monitors, you can have a steel one installed on the inside tire there, and you can install the pressure sensor monitors on the steel valve stem with that. So that'll be a safe way to do that. The seats have memory seats, 3 positions. So we have electric seats on this. We have the mirror control here, left and right, and we have power windows. We also have, when you want to set the memory for this, you just get the seat positioned like you want it. Hold down memory a few seconds and then enter in 1, 2, or 3 position. We have locks here for the doors. Also have heated seats. And then we have the auto position for the lights. So when I've got it in auto position here, the lights will automatically come on. There's also a sensor up front for the controls and the safety, and built into the behind the glass here. A camera that looks down the road. It's going to do your keep lane assist. It's also going to sense the headlights coming toward you, the high beams. It'll knock those back down so you don't blind people. So we have diesel fuel here. So this is your diesel fuel. All right. I'm going to show you a couple places for some fuses, and so right here underneath the driver's seat are some chassis fuses. So we have chassis fuses here. We also have more of the chassis fuses over on the passenger side in the floorboard. And one more little tidbit for you. Here's the paint code, Mercedes paint code, if you ever need touch-up paint for your base color here. So you get that real easy. The battery's actually located here, the chassis battery that runs and starts the engine, right here below the floorboard in case you need that. But they also make a disconnect here at the console right here, and it's behind this cover. It's basically a chassis disconnect. And so if you were to leave this coach for an extended period of time and not have it plugged in, you can always disconnect the battery there. and read the instructions on the side before you do that, but you could disconnect it and reduce any battery draw that we might have. So we're going to open up a couple of these compartments here. I've got to have the keys that have 751 keys. So this is a 751 key. Everybody in the RV business will have one of these. It's a common key for these type of doors. So we're going to open that up, and this is our outside shower, so we could clean up after we're working with the sewer and things outside, or if we just want to wash off at the beach or something, we could do that. We're going to open this up. So this is where you're going to hook your sewer. When you pull up to the campsite, you've got a sewer hose that's actually inside and stored inside, and you'll be hooking it right here up on this opening here. So we'll just twist that sewer hose on, run it out, down, and into the sewer. So I'm going to actually open up the sewer hose here and show you where it's located. So we have this located here, and it's a double section, so it goes out quite long, and we'll be able to pop that on and twist that on. This end will go down to your sewer. There's actually some attachments inside in your kit, and that'll go onto this, and it's a right angle adapter, so that'll drop down into the sewer. And so we're going to leave these valves shut. So we got the gray on the right and the black on the left, and you're going to watch the gauges inside. And when your tanks get full and need to be empty, especially the black, we're going to come over here and we're going to open up the black and let that run out first. We'll shut that, and then we're going to open up the gray and let that help flush out the hose as we empty that out. One more thing you can do too is like when you're at the campsite and you're using a lot of gray water and taking a shower and so forth, you can come out and open up your gray and just let that run out directly, so you don't overfill your tank or use too much and fill up your gray too often, too early. So we're going to bring in our city water hose. So you'll need to get you a city water hose and try to use we want you to use a pressure regulator on the end of that hose. That's a 55 PSI. You're going to bring it up, and usually for this, a right angle adapter is necessary. So it's a good idea to get one, a little brass adapter that goes down and points down to a right angle, and bring your hose up this way so your hose doesn't have to kink, and hook up to this. And when you turn on the city water, that's going to pressurize all the lines throughout the coach. Now you can also run off of your freshwater tank that's on board, and I have some water in it already, and I'll show you how to fill that and drain it on the other side. So right now also we have our cable TV at a park. Usually they offer free cable TV, so we can hook up our cable to this. Get yourself a coax cable and carry that with you, and that way you'll always have it handy. 20-25 feet will do. Hook into there, hook into the cable park's pedestal, and you're good to go. Then you just take and scan your TV, and then you can get the channels. So what we're going to do here, we're also going to make sure our gas is turned on. So we have an LP gas that runs the water heater, runs the refrigerator on, if necessary, on LP, and also the furnace. So we've got that on right now. And then I have my 30 amp shore cord, we call it, power cord. You're going to plug that in. I'm going to show you, I'm going to twist off the thing. It's keyed, it only goes in one way. So when you put that in, this will be at the bottom. And so we put that in, actually push it in, twist it to the right. And once that's locked in, we'll lock in the sealing collar, or the locking collar at the top. Now you want to see a red indicator light there at the top. That's going to tell you have power coming into the coach. So moving along here, this has a water heater on it. It's a Truma Aqua Go. And the first thing that we need to do with the Aqua Go is show you that there is water in it. I'm going to pop this open here. And when I open and pull this down, you'll see at the top here, I don't know if you can get your camera in there, there's actually a filter in there that pulls out when I let this down. This is actually how you drain the water heater. So when you pull this down, the water will drain out of this trough onto the ground. That's how we drain this entire water heater for winterizing, or just to get the water out of the coach. But I've got the filter in now. It's about that long, and that's also a place where you can put cleaning tablets in that and clean out this water heater. We'll talk more about that on the inside. But my goal out here is to make sure I have water in the coach. I also want to make sure I turn on the power. You can do it up or you can do it down. Either way on the Truma will work. You want to see a green light right here, green power light. Okay, so now that I've got power either way, up or down, I can go inside. There's actually a control on the wall, and I can put the Truma water heater in eco mode or comfort mode. Now most people like to use the comfort mode because it will get the water circulated to all of your taps and have it hot and available anytime you need it. And the difference is the economy mode will actually only heat up when you turn on the faucet, so there's going to be a delay before you get hot water. This is going to be the LP furnace exhaust. So a lot of people get the bug covers that go over that, the dauber guards. So if you live in an area where you have a lot of mud daubers and wasps and bugs, it's always recommended that you can get a cover and put over that. We're going to look at the back of the refrigerator. I don't show a lot of people this, but this is the back of our refrigerator, and you can see I've got it plugged in here. That's normal. This is an LP, this is an RV refrigerator, so what that means is it's an absorption refrigerator. So when you turn it on the inside, it's going to go to automatic mode, or you can switch auto, and it's going to choose the most efficient way to run. And right now I'm plugged in, so it's choosing electric. I can also manually switch it on any source I want. Now the beauty of this fridge is that when you drive, when you turn on the ignition, this is going to switch to a battery mode, so it will run off a 12 volt DC. So there's 3 ways it runs: 12 volt DC, electric, and it also runs off of LP when I have the LP turned on, or when you're dry camping or boondocking. But I just wanted to show the electric plug here, the nature of the back of the refrigerator, and we take air in here, remove the heat from the coils, and it comes out here at the vent at the top. So when you're reaching up here, you can feel it's kind of warm there. We're removing the heat off those coils. That's how we get our cooling on the inside of the box. And by the way, it takes about 10 to 12 hours usually to cool down an absorption refrigerator before you can use it. So try to start it up ahead of time, and that way it'll be ready when you do load up and ready to go. This is our exhaust for our generator, okay, what you're seeing there. We're going to work our way around here, back. You have a hitch for towing here, should you want to tow a tow car, a small tow car or trailer or something like that. We also have our 7-way round electrical right here on the left. And one thing I want to show you here on the left of this is our LP fill. So this is actually where we fill the LP. And you're not going to fill it when you take it into a filling station. An attendant's going to hook up to this. He's going to fill it up. You have a gauge on the inside, and these hold in anywhere between 8 and 10 to 11 gallons. So you fill it up here. He's going to crack this open. You see that's venting out right there, and that's a vapor vent, a liquid level gauge too. So if he sees liquid coming out of this, he's going to stop filling, and that way he knows he's filled up. And this is also an LP tap over here on the left, so we can actually plug in a grill to this, or a furnace or a heater outside, and so that's tapping into your LP system, and then you can utilize that for other things. That's nice to have for a barbecue grill. So we're going to put this on here. I'm going to get another cap for that. That thing's, I noticed that's kind of busted there. So we got some sensors here on the bottom. This is all part of the safety system that we have on this coach, and it's proximity sensors. They're sensing when you back up, or when you go forward, or when you turn. It's sort of a radar system that's looking around your coach for any objects, and so that when we make a left turn, right turn, we'll also be notified up front if there's anything in the way. Over here on the right, you have a roadside emergency kit for the, you have an air compressor in there. You have some tire seal in case you have a blowout or a tire that's gone down and leaking. Got a leak in the tire, you can always add some of the liquid sealer in that and then pump it up. There's actually an air compressor in this that runs off of 12 volts, and so you can plug it into your cigarette lighter and have that work. But right here in the back, I want to show you a couple of things. The first thing is this switch at the top. This is a solar panel switch, and so right now I've got it in the charge mode. If I wanted to disconnect the solar panels from the charging system that comes down into the lithium batteries, I would turn that to the left, and you can actually take it out, and then that's disabling the solar charge to those lithium batteries. We're going to kind of go ahead and keep that, and that's for maintenance usually, and when you're working with the batteries and trying to change them out or do some problems or whatever you're trying to figure out. So we're going to go back and re-engage that right there. Okay, there's also a 30-amp solar fuse that you see right here. That's for the solar panels on top. We're going to take the cover. This is just magnetic, and this cover comes off, and then we can lift this up. And here are our lithium batteries. So we have 200 amp hours of lithium batteries. There's no maintenance on these, and these are maintained. These are maintained by the charger. You can drive and charge these up. Driving will charge them up with the engine. Also, when you plug into shore power, if you run the generator, or if you have some solar power coming in, that's going to provide a charge or trickle charge to these batteries. On the left over here, you see that is called an automatic transfer switch. That switches you between shore power and generator. The generator always takes priority, so if I start up the generator, even if I'm plugged in like this, it's going to switch to the generator. So a good rule of thumb is to always unplug your shore power before you start up your generator. We have seat belts here. They can be pulled up and through the seat here. That's just a little modesty panel, so you pull them through there when you got riders and you want to keep them safe. There's also a screen here in the back, and so we can unlatch that screen, and then there's zippers that pull down, and it's going to provide a nice bug screen for the back here to keep it sealed up. The doors come back, and I don't know if you knew this, but the doors will completely go around into the back. There's one thing about this coach is, since the doors open all the way up wide, Pleasureway has disabled the opening and closing of these back wing windows here so that we don't interfere or hit the back of this. So you got to be careful of that. And they don't have knobs on those. You can see the windows here. They don't have knobs. They have a little cover on there, and they have a little sticker up here that tells you that they've disabled the windows. And this will go back too. This is good for loading, or if you just want to enjoy the outdoors, run your bug screen down. Okay. So underneath is our generator. I don't know if we can see that with the camera. We're going to take a look and see what we can. Over here. Look down on this side. So you can see the generator. The door is actually on the other side, and inside that door is actually a circuit breaker. So you want to try, let's try to get the other side maybe. We got this one was facing the other way. So yeah, so this is a door that comes off. And this is a 2500 LP generator. So this will run, at a minimum, this will run your air conditioner on top. So you can run the rooftop air off of this unit. This is an LP generator, so I do have to have the LP switch back here turned on in the utility center. And that's the oil on this is changed normally at 50 hours. And then after 50 hours, you can go 250 hours between your oil changes. So there's an hour meter inside, so we'll be able to track that hour time that we use, and we'll look at that all inside. So I have a utility outlet out here. Nice to be able to plug things in, 110. Now this is our water fill for our freshwater tank. So this is what we call a gravity fill. Place you can put your city water hose. You can fill up that tank inboard. And you can also add bleach and water if you're trying to sanitize your tank, or vinegar and water. And I want to show you the drain is actually right here as I put my arm in. And when I open that up, you can see I'm draining my fresh water out of the tank. And so that's the drain. So when you winterize, or if you want to drain the old stale water out of there, that's a good place to do it right there. Instead of trying to run it through your sink or shower and then empty it out of the grate, you can just open up the tank here. But this is how you fill it. And we're going to open this up. This has an electric door on it, so you just want to pull the handle one time. You can also open and close on the key fob if you want to. See if I can do this. Unlock. There we go. So you hit it one time. Unlock. And that opened it up. That closed it up. And so electrically you can open and close it with the key fob. You can also do it with a handle. And I'm going to show you a couple of places. You never want to push on the back of the door. Just let the motors pull the door in. And I'm going to show you something else too. You want to be very careful when you're in the way here. There's an emergency stop here at the side of the door. You see it blinking in red. So if the door is coming in, you can press that and stop it. If you just want to close the door part way and be able to enter and out, you can do that as well. This also has another bug screen here in the door that you pull down and pull the zippers down. But one of the things here in the main part of the door is, I'm going to show you, this is your main battery switch. They call this a salesman switch. It's a battery cutoff for the 12 volts. So if I have things turned on inside, okay, entry lights or a bunch of lights. I can hit light master on, it turns on every light in here. Go back to home position. When I turn off the switch here, it turns off everything inside that's 12 volt. So when you're storing your coach, that's what you'll use to actually turn off things. Or if you got it at the house or somewhere at night, you're not going to be loading up till the next day and you're not plugged in. But bear in mind that when I turn that off, it also turns off your refrigerator. So if you're in using your coach, as a general rule, you're going to leave it on because you want your refrigerator and everything, there it goes, and it powers up. We want to keep our food cold. So we're going to turn this back on. I'm going to remove this cover so we can see a little bit better. Okay. So we're going to take a look at a couple of things. I'm in the home position and I have all my lights, and anytime you see a light here with a arrow on it, you can hold it, push and hold it, and then you can dim that light. So that's kind of nice to set up the setting that you want at night, the brightness of the light. I've got my water pump here, so if I'm running on the water pump, if I'm running off of the tank, I need to have the water pump turned on. That runs off of 12 volts, of course. When I'm on city water, like I would be at a campsite, I don't necessarily need the water pump turned on because it's just going to be using water out of your tank as well, and eventually it will go dry. So we're going to look at the tanks. I got 50% of fresh water in that tank. Gray and black are empty. That's how I want to start out. And this even gives me my LP tank level. So I'm filled up 93% on the LP. So I'm good to go. We're ready to go camping. I've got water in it. I've got LP. We've got a full tank of diesel here. So we're actually ready to go. We're looking at the voltage. Anytime I'm plugged in or if I'm running the engine, I always like to see the voltage of the coach. And I'm at 13.7. That's a float charge on those batteries right now. If those batteries got down to, like, say about 12 volts, 12.1, those would be discharged battery, dead batteries, and you need to get it charged up. Well, you can charge it up again, plugged in, generator, running the engine, or solar power. So you see a little amp gauge right below it. Now I'm actually drawing -1 amp off of the charger or the batteries, and so this gives you a amperage reading of the batteries. So it tells you the actual power draw and what you're pulling off those DC batteries. And so this will give you a good idea of what your loads are as you start turning on lights and so forth. So if we turn on lights here, you'll see the master lights there. Go back to this. See, our amp draw went up a little bit. And these are LED lights, so they don't pull a lot of juice. But if I go here and, like, say I start up my fan, this is a ventilation fan here in the roof. And you want to do that when you're cooking or cooking. So we'll go up a little bit using that. So you can see it varies. It just depends on when you start it up. Okay, so now that's it. Now if you're dry camping, now right now I'm plugged in, so the charger is actually making up some of this current that I'm using. But if I were just dry camping and I wasn't plugged in, you probably see a lot more amperage being pulled from the batteries just to maintain lights in the refrigerator and so forth. I can also turn my generator on and off here, and I'm going to do that for you. We'll pretend that I unplug my shore power, and then I'm going to come over here to start that up. Stop it here. Start up again. I've got the LP on outside. Okay. Stop it here just for a second. And that's what it sounds like. Sounds like a little lawnmower running, nice and quiet. They've actually added a silencer to those generators, so they're real nice. And when you shut this door, you really won't hear it very much. But so now that I got my generator running, I give it a couple of minutes to switch over. And once it does, I can then turn on my rooftop air. Now that's done right here. I'm going to go ahead and stop my generator. Now we're switching back to shore power. But I can start and stop my air conditioner here. So I've got AC, then I got my furnace which runs off of LP, and I've got my LP turned on, so I can turn on my AC, and I can go to low fan or high fan and so forth. And I can set my temperature up here, okay, and down. Now the vent, you can also operate this vent in the coach off of this thermostat. So that's something kind of nice and important. You can go here and open it up through the mechanics. Think the gear is mechanical movement, because you also have an awning that you can extend as well. We're out wanting to enjoy and keep the sun off of us. Make everything cooler. We can open this up. And by the way, this awning has a motion sensor on it. When the wind comes up, starts shaking the awning around, it's going to run in for you. So that's a safety thing. I'd like for you to check that from time to time. I'm going to show you how that works. Be careful here. I've got a pole here that I'm kind of close by. So all you have to do is grab the awning. You get a wind that comes up. And shake it. There it goes. It took enough wind to shake and move that and come in. So that's a safety thing. Never leave it out at night when you're using your coach, when you're camping, or when you leave and go eat or whatever you want to do. Leave your coach. Go ahead and run it in just as a precaution. So we also have a button here that we can extend that sofa in the back. And so if I wanted to lay that sofa down, I could do that from here as well. But there's also a panel just like this in the back as well, so I don't have to do it right from the door. Now we're going to go back to the home position. So I've got my AC on, I got the fan running. I may want the water pump on if I'm dry camping, and I can set up my lights however I want. Now this generator also has something called an automatic gen start. Now the automatic gen start, AGS, when I tap on that, I can set this up right here, and we will do the easy setup, and I can have it come on for if the batteries get low or if the climate control calls for it. So if I have air conditioner that I need, if I have a dog and I want to leave him in the coach, and when I'm dry camping I want him to get hot, I can actually turn it on, enable the air condition and the power. These have already been set up as presets. We're going to leave those like they are. These are the voltages that you want that to come on at. Lithiums run at a little higher charging voltage than lead acid batteries, so that's why you see some of the voltages are a little higher than lead acid. So this has all been preset. We're going to leave that there. 10 minutes. 240 minutes. I might want to back that down to 180. That's 3 hours instead of 4 hours run time. No longer than that. You can always play around with these settings and you get something that's just what you need it to be. So right here. And then so some of your parks have quiet time, so if you want to abide by their rules, you know, and say, hey, I don't want to start this thing up at 9, I want between 9 p.m. and 8 a.m. I don't want the generator to start, you can do that as well. So then when you finish all your settings, you can come in and say finish. So when I want to enable that AGS operation, I hit AGS, I've got to turn the ignition on within 60 seconds. The reason they do this is a fail-safe because they want you to absolutely be sure that you want to turn on that AGS and not accidentally just hit this button and turn it on if you're in a storage area or some other place that you should not be running your generator. So abide by that and try to stick with that. So we're going to go down here, we're going to go back to lights, and you can see we even have an awning light here that we can turn on when the awning's out. Let me show you when the awning's out. The sofa, extend the awning out, you got to hit the right button. You can see we got an LED light on the end of it. And so when I go to awning, there it is. And so we don't fall at home. I can operate the awning. Okay, so I'm going to retract the awning back up. The awning will go up and clear the door on this one, so it's kind of nice to have that where the door does not have to be shut and run the awning in and out. Okay. You can control the speed of your ventilation fan here as well. So we're going to go back to the utility screen, and this is a place that I can set up my time. So it's 9:39 in the AM. I just set my time up. You can do the screen brightness here if you need to. Screen settings. You can also look and have a power saving part of the screen, so it turns off after 15 minutes. We'll just keep these as a default right now. So we're going to go back to this. Also, you can do a diagnostic. So if we have any faults that pop up on this Firefly screen, they call this a Firefly, basically a spider control system. So if we have any errors that come up, they'll show up here in detail as to what they are. So gives me an idea of how to look. Now the G6 is the thing that actually turns on all the lights in here. I can show you that later, but all of these that you have in green, those are the loads that are actually turned on, so you can see all the lights. And then we have our thermistor reading there as well, going through the spider control. And so here's the status of each one of those modules that we have associated with this. So everything looks green, everything's ready to go. So we're good on this. So it just helps me diagnose the system and be able to tell what's going on, okay? All right, so we're back here. We've got a fire extinguisher here for safety. Right above your head is a smoke detector here. And then down below, here in the back, I've got a LPCO alarm. And you can see there's multiple GFCI. So we have one for the refrigerator. We have one here for the outlets over here near the water, which would be on the other side. There's actually an outlet right there below the sink, below the counter. This is our stove top. You want to go to light on the button. You want to push and hold that so that you're getting gas, and then dial it in where you need it as far as the flame. So this is our cooktop. So what I'm going to do is show you that if I push in the light and light that, and I let off of it too soon, the sensor is not getting warm enough for the gas to still flow. So you want to push and hold that, okay? And once the flame gets to it, leave it on there for a few seconds and then let go of it. Now the flame will stay and maintain itself. That's a safety valve, so we don't have any gas flow inside if somebody just turns a valve on, just like that. So a lot of safety is built into these RVs. And this is a cooktop cover. This is tempered glass. We don't want to cook with this down. I've had some people try to do that. But here's your burners actually. When you store it, make sure these are off and then down. We're going to take a look here. You have a lot of electrics on here. Microwave. I'm just going to take this cover off just so you can see it a little better with the camera. These are breakers. These are household breakers. And so these will operate all your AC devices, air condition, your inverter input, refrigerator. So if you have one trip, it's going to be flipped down, so push it down and come back and reset it. So these are on the AC, the 120 volt side. I'm going to lift up this cover. I have more here on the 12 volt side. So if I have a load here like a light or a fan that's not working, come check these circuit breakers. If they're popped out, if they stick out about 1/4 of an inch or about 1/8 of an inch, come back and reset them. I just always run my fingers over them if I've got something not working, and that'll reset them. You can see these stick up a little bit bigger. These are larger breakers, usually 30 and 40 amp here, but that's normal for them to stick up like that. I want to show you one more thing here too. I've got access here to a couple of breakers, and these are large breakers. One's on the generator, and this is on the overall 12 volt disconnect. So if these trip, let me show you what happens. That little armor is going to flip out, and so that's a trip breaker. So what we want to do is reset it, and there you go. Now if you continue to have problems with that, obviously, you know, there's an issue somewhere, some kind of short. But these are breakers that someone can look at if they are trying to reset their power system. And this is all part of the Firefly spider control system right here. I call it Firefly. They're all the same thing, but they use the same basic spider control. Okay. So we have this articulating table here. You don't really need to take this cover off. I did that so that your camera can catch all that. So I'm going to loosen up this table arm right here. And we can slide that up, and then we can tighten it up. And so we can have this thing move kind of wherever we want, be able to enjoy our dining, okay, our table. These will actually come off. When you want to make this into one full bed area, of course you need to take the table and take it off of this sliding stand, take that off and store the table away. All right, so we're talking about controls here. This is actually the water heater control. So if I've got my water pump turned on, or if I've got water, let me do that. I'll make sure I have my water right here. And I do want to make sure that on the hot side of the sink that I have all the air out of the line. So I might go here and I might go into the bathroom and open that hot side. because those Truma water heaters do not like the water having air in the line. So we're going to have power turned on outside. We've cleared all the air out of the line. So now we're going to turn the AquaGo, the Truma AquaGo, up to the comfort position. So you see the orange light come on. Now that's going to heat the water and it's going to circulate it to all these taps that we have here in the kitchen and those in the bathroom. If this light started blinking on you, you know, you either got the LP turned off outside or maybe you got air in the line and it just quit operation. So you would have to go outside, turn off that power switch outside, and then come back in, go back to off on this dial, and then go back up to a setting. Essentially, you're resetting the system. Now this top one is your eco mode. That only comes on and heats up water when you turn on the tap. So you do have a delay in getting hot water. Now see, I didn't light up. I must have turned off the gas outside or had air in the line. So I've got to turn that off. And we're going to go outside and I'm going to reset that thing. I can't have things work first time, you know. That's the way you got to show the customer what's up with it. And so on this side of the unit, so I've got LP turned on here. I got to make sure. Oh, yep, see, I got water. I was just pulling the pressure valve here to make sure I have water. So I'm going to turn this off right here. And then I'm going to reset it by turning it back on. Okay, so I'm going to get a green light here. And no more flashing red light there. Let's go try it again on the inside. Now sometimes it may take 2 or 3 times, depending if I've got air in the system or maybe there was air even in the LP line, okay? So we're going to go back to off on this. Water heater is turned on the Truma. We're in comfort mode. So now I should have hot water here, which I do already. See how quickly that was? That's hot water. And that's an endless supply of hot water since it's a tankless on-demand water heater. So it actually has 1 liter of hot water in it to moderate the temperature, but we call it a tankless as well, a hybrid if you want to say. And so we're heating our water, so I'll have hot water here at the tap, and that's also got a sprayer on it if I need to. Wash a cat up in there. Okay, so I throw a little humor in there. Now here we go, we got hot water over here on this side. And so I got hot water tap already hot. And then when I want to use the shower, I need to pull up the little handle here. And so I got a nice little shower here that I can use, handheld shower. It's a nice setup that they've got in here, and there's a little deal here. Bear in mind that this is a shower area. When you shower, when you're done, just wipe it down if you can. This is all protected wood and everything, but there's also a shower curtain that you can pull when you're taking a shower in here and using that. Now these lights push to turn on right here. You can see I'm just pushing the lens. And then we have our toilet. Now this is a ceramic toilet, so it's easy to clean up. Not going to scratch like a plastic one. And then when you push the pedal down partially, you get some water. When you go all the way down, this is where you're going to be adding your chemical for the toilet. So we want to drop in some chemical, a pod in there, or even the liquid or the powder, and let that go into the tank as the recommended amount, and that'll help liquefy and help with the smell on the toilet. And every time you go and dump your black tank, you'll need to come in and recharge that tank with some chemical. Okay. A nice little setup here. We got a medicine cabinet here. Pull it from the left hand side with a latch. Then we got a curtain we could put down. Okay. And then we have a drain at the bottom. You don't want to stop that up. And then of course we got storage underneath our cabinet here. Okay. So I'm going to look at my inverter next. If I wanted to dry camp, or I just wanted to see what was happening with my inverter, let me turn off my light so you can see that. I'm getting a lot of glare. I'm going to take this off there, number one. The lighting here, go to master light off. Okay, so you can see we're at 13.6 volt. This is also our charger, so it's an inverter charger combination. And the FLT means that we're in a float charge, so we're fully charged on those lithium batteries in the back. And right now, power's just passing through the inverter going to all these devices. But if I needed to turn this on for dry camping, here's the button for doing that. You push it in to engage it, And now we can invert that 12 volts, and that makes 120 volts for us. So we can run the microwave, and we can run outlets inside of here, and our television, things like that, that we can run and dry camp just off of the batteries. But I recommend that if you're not going to use the inverter, as a general rule, just turn it off right here at the button. And we'll be able to see that when we go and unplug the power. But you got to have this on for those devices to work if you're dry camping and wanting to use those off of the batteries. So, and I can scroll through this, but you can see that right there. I can scroll through and look and see. Let me see here, right here. You see I'm scrolling through. There's my voltage coming in, 110 volts coming in from the shore power at 60 hertz. And this is just the type of unit it is, and back to flow charge. And there's the amperage I'm putting into the batteries. Now that's 5 amps. And usually for the other DC devices in here, we're actually using some DC amps to do that. And so there's the AC input. You can actually see your load. There's no load on it right now. 1.4, and then there's the voltage once again. And I'm going to go back to the voltage where it shows the flow charge. This is what I like to see here too as well. I want to see what state the batteries are in, and that meter will tell me what it does. So when we do want to set the area up here to make a bed, we're going to loosen the handle up here. I'm going to take this off just temporarily. And when you want to make your bed up inside of here are the little partitions, the little wooden partitions. They're attached to the wall there with clips. And these wood pieces can be put in here. This is how they're going to be, like this and this. And then you would take this back piece here, put it in, you put your other back piece in to fill up the space. And then when you run, you extend your bed out, you're making one full large bed like this. And so, wow, restful sleep right there. So I think I'm going to lay down. So we're going to retract the sofa. You can put this in the closet area if you want to fold that up. But that's how it works. That's how we make our bed up real quick. By the way, this does have Velcro on it. There's some Velcro straps here that come up, and then right here, and you can attach these backs to that, and that'll help hold things in transit when you're moving and going down the road. Okay, that's how quickly and that's how fast it makes up a bed. And then when you're in the daytime, when you're not using your bed, you can store these back in the closet. And they have these wonderful little clips that actually hold that, and they're not going to come out of place. There's one over here for the tabletop as well, so that's what the clips here on the wall are for. Okay. Nice big closet with it. This is access here actually to the back of the water heater, and inside of that, you'll see in your owner's manual they talk about the bypass valves for the water heater when you want to winterize this coach, and that's where they're located, in behind those 4 screws. I wanted to open this up here and show you right here. Here's the water pump. So this is actually the water pump we're using when we want to pull water from our freshwater tank and actually use that. You can see it comes on when I have the water pump on, and turns off when there's no demand for water. But when you're driving down the road, I recommend that you drive with that turned off, just in case somebody accidentally leaves the faucet on just a little bit, so you don't have it running, filling up your tanks and sink, everything when you're driving. Microwave is a convection microwave as well, and you can see there's a rack for the convection. Take it out when you want a microwave, but on convection you can just clear. You can go to convection, you can go 250, and you can start that up. So that's a preset there for 250. I'm preheating that at 250. So this can be your oven, it can be just your microwave if you want to just set up one clear and in 1 minute and then start. So we're microwaving now. I'm just giving you the real basics of it. And then you also have a grill. So you can do that and go to grill 2, and you can set up your time. But see, you have a grill at the top, so you can actually brown foods in this. This is a real oven. And so it does all, serves everything that you need. But it's a half-time oven, cooks really fast as far as food goes. My refrigerator, I wanted to show you this because refrigerator right now, I'm gonna push the mode button. We're in the auto mode, and most people are gonna run it in the auto mode and let it switch between the power source that is most efficient for the refrigerator. So when I go crank up, this is actually gonna go to battery mode, and then when I stop running, it's gonna switch back over to LP mode. If you needed to, for some reason, you wanted to go here to LP mode or battery mode, you can manually switch those and keep it in the mode. Like LP, if you're dry camping and you know you're going to be just dry camping on your LP and your batteries and solar power, you could do that, and that'd be an efficient way to run it. But when I turn this on, it goes dim. So we're at 9, that's the coldest. I could press this button and back it back off. So in our weather here, it's pretty hot right now, so I'm going to recommend probably about 6 or 7. And that's going to keep the freezer up top here nice and frozen. And you can see I'm freezing. Yeah, I'm very frozen now. A couple little ice trays there. You can see we're actually forming some frost here that you see. And then on the inside, we got our regular refrigerator here. That's a drip tray there in the back. So that's designed if you get condensation on these fans like this. And if you get condensation, it'll drain out of this. But again, it's going to take about 10 to 12 hours to cool down. Now when you're not using this, here's the power button over here. We'd actually reach over here, hold it down, and that'll turn it off. Okay, so you can turn it on and off directly, and then hold it down for a few seconds to turn it back on. But just give it ample time to power up and run. It's going to take overnight probably. I have a TV remote, and we actually have a Bose sound system in this one. So when I turn on the television, these are LG TVs, and by the way, this is on an articulating arm, so it will swing out as needed. I'm watching the local TV right now, digital TV. I've got my Bose sound system. I'm going to turn that on, and wow, what a difference of sound. So we can actually...
That's sweet. No, that's not sweet. Come on.
So we can really increase our sound in here and get that
smoked crawfish cheesecake.
We can get that surround sound effect just from the sound bar. Yeah, this will pull down. You have a little latch in here that you can release. When you release that, this pulls out. If you're making, be careful with the arm, but if you're making breakfast in the morning, you can swing it out. You'll be able to watch over on the other side, sort of like that. But when you go back to travel, you want to lock it up because you want it to be secure against the wall when you drive. There's also a DVD player here inside. It's a Blu-ray player. So when you load up a Blu-ray disc, you have a remote for that. Always take your TV, use the connector button, and we're going to go to HDMI, and that's how you actually play the Blu-ray player over the TV. Now if you're back on local TV, every area you go to, you're going to want to scan that area for the channels. They're going to be different in every location of the country that you go to. And you would just hit the gear button that brings up this display here that you see and go down to channels. We're actually going to go down to channels. We're going to go to auto tuning, and then we're going to start. And that's how you scan the area for the digital channels, and it'll put them in the memory for you. And you do the same thing if you're hooked on cable TV outside. So we're going to let that scan. While we're doing that, we're going to look at our solar charge controller. So if you want to scroll through the reading here, just tap on the B button and we can look at our voltage. This is the house battery voltage, the lithium batteries. Press that again. This is the number of amps that we're getting from the solar panels. We're not actually pulling in anything right now. We're sort of under cover, we're in the shade, but if we got out in the direct sunlight, we'd start seeing some power come in from the solar panels. And this is a charge regulator for that. So this is going to regulate the power going into those lithium batteries. All you have to do on this is actually just press the B button, just tap it, and you'll see that the batteries are no amps coming in. We're at 100% on the batteries. And this is a number of amp hours that we have accumulated over a period of time. But they also have a max boost. If you're dry camping and you know you're going to be running on batteries solely that night, about 2 or 3 hours before, while you have direct sunlight, you can hit the max boost, and that's going to boost the charge into those lithium batteries the maximum amount that it can, because you know that you're going to dry camp that night. This is a sensor for the temperature for the air conditioner, for the furnace inside the unit. And again, this is just the same type of panel that we have up front. So we can do everything back here that we did up front. I can actually see it a little better because I've got sunlight up there. Okay. And we're through. We got 81 channels stored into memory. We have a lot of channels around here. So I'm going to say next cable and then stop, because I don't want to do the cable channels. That's fine, and that's going to be done. So I'm going to exit out of here. And so this Pleasureway has a great antenna on it. I can tell you that, because I don't normally get quite this many channels, but we're getting a lot of it. And there we go. Turn off my surround, my sound here. Turn that off. And then make sure. This has an eject button here too for the CD right here. So if you put a CD or a DVD, it'll play either one. And then on your antenna, you need to have this button on here. Okay, right here. And this is your antenna booster for the actual digital antenna up top. And then I can actually fine-tune this antenna by rotating it. And you can see there that as I hold this down, right there, I'm at position 19 now, so I can actually, I'm motorized, I'm rotating that antenna up on the roof, so I can fine-tune it for the channels I want to find in that area. And you do need to make sure you have this on. You can also, when you first set up, you can do a search too, and have that automatically rotate up top to find the strongest signals in that area, and it's going to do that automatically, so I don't have to do it manually here as well. Okay. Another GFI here, that's for the microwave. A lot of protection in this rig. We're on power here. Okay. We have a quick cool, so if you come into a coach and it's hot, you want to cool this area off real quick, open that up. You're dumping the cold air out here. You also have these side vents that you can open up. You also have the front ones that you can open and close if you need to force air out of the front and the back. One thing behind you I want to show you, as far as keeping cool in your coach, you have these windows, or these shades that you can put up in the front window. So you can put these nice insulated shades up in the windshield and in the side windows. They actually have usually little magnets here that actually hold them in the window frame. So these would go on the inside of the windows, on the side windows, and you have one for the front windows. Privacy and for cooling or keeping the heat inside the coach, either one. Nice to have these nice shades. And this is actually a mattress that can be used. Now this is an air pump for the mattress, and this is a mattress that can be set up, and I believe it goes to make an area in front of, let me check that for sure. I think it's the one that goes in front of the seats. Right there it is. So you have one that goes across the seats, and then you have one that actually blows up in the center. So you have a center support, and then you have a mattress that goes all the way across. And so that's kind of nice. If you have extra guests and you want them to sleep up across the front seats, you can do that. It's kind of nice. The Pleasureway is really fully equipped this rig with what we need. Okay. Here's the owner's manual. So we got the owner's manual here. I want to show you, this is the chassis manual. These are the owner's manual for the Pleasureway. And we have our plumbing attachments that we needed outside, so that's actually included. There's a backup crank handle for the awning. If you can't get the awning in, you take the cover off the one side of it. You can actually manually crank that awning in, so there's always nice to have a backup way. And they give you an actual vinyl shower curtain for the shower, so don't forget that you got this in there, okay? and some other manuals. There's a lot of other manuals in here for all the individual appliances, the air conditioning, microwave, cookbook, and different things that are in here. So just a lot of good reading for you, a lot of late night reading. We're going to take a look at the driver's area. I have a lot of key fobs for this. This is keyless ignition, so I just have to have a key up front here. And if your key does not work for you, you can always take and put it in the depository down there, and that's going to read the key every time, and it'll help to reprogram the key fobs. So right now I have 3 of these key fobs, and so we're just going to keep one up here. I'm going to step on the brake, and we're going to start up the engine. Now this is a diesel, so it's going to do a preheat on its own. And the way these new Mercedes chassis work, there's a lot of safety built in and so forth. And you can see it's giving me warnings right now that my door is open, okay, and my side door is open. You can see that on the red, okay. And so I have a wheel that I can tilt right here and get that thing comfortable, and then I can pull out and telescope. The idea behind the buttons on the Mercedes are they want to keep your eyes looking forward for safety. So a lot of the features that we have on the odometer on the cluster here, we can do over here on the left. And one of the things I'm going to show you is I'm going to go to the home position right here, and now I can just scroll over with my thumb and choose any one of these things: trip odometers, drive assist. Now I'm going to go to service, and I'm going to press that button. That gets me into an embedded menu, and I can go down and check the DEF fluid. So there we are, we're full on the DEF fluid, the diesel exhaust fluid outside underneath the engine. Going to go back again with the back key, and I'm going to scroll down where it says engine oil level. So now I'm checking the engine oil level from my seat here. Everything looks good there. I'm going to go left here. I'm going to go up to Assist Plus. This will give me an average of how many days before I need service on the engine. So I would probably do 20,000 miles or 1 year, whichever comes first. It's a good recommendation. We can also look at the particle filter. This is part of the diesel exhaust. This is part of the cleaning system for the exhaust to help make sure the atmosphere is clean. There are no messages. If I had any engine codes, check engine codes and so forth, or fault codes, they would come up as messages, and I can go in here and actually read them. So we're going to go back to home. We're going to come over to drive assist, and this has a drive assist so that when I'm driving along, I can actually increase and set that, and so I can set the sensitivity up here as well. But I can drive along, and I can put this in cruise control, and it's going to maintain the distance from the car in front of me, and so they call that the driving assist. And you can turn that on and off as you need it through the menus here. So we're going to go back to trip. That's just a trip odometer, but I can scroll down and get a lot more information about the trip. I can get my average miles per gallon, and I can reset all of this stuff. And so I'm going to go back to home, and so here we have navigation, and that's tied in with your nav system over here on the 10.25-inch screen over here on the Mercedes. And you can see I'm headed north.
What can I do for you?
So anytime you say, "Hey Mercedes," it's going to prompt you and ask you what it would like for you to do.
What do you want to do?
Now I can actually go in and turn that off in the menu, and if that's annoying for you, or if you just want to wait until you get used to it. But I can say, right now I can say navigation, and it's going to go, "Hi Mercedes."
What would you like to do?
Navigation. It'll go to the navigation. So there's some voice prompt commands that it can recognize and do through this system. So we're going to go back to here to this position. Going to go to home, and I can go to radio here, and then I can scroll up through the channels, just like this. Okay. So this will let me control the TV, and I control the volume over here on the radio through the right over here. Okay. So I'm going to hit home again, and in media, of course, you can control you can set up your Bluetooth to operate with the radio, so you can get You can get your songs, you can get your tunes. You can also do the hands-free telephone through the Bluetooth, and you can answer the phone right here and then control your volume. So you never have to take your hands off the wheel, and you never have to be bothered with the radio part of it over here. Okay, so we're going to go back here to home, and you can also do the settings. You can set some vehicle settings up here, like your rain sensor. You can change the sensor on when you want that to come on and how often, the frequency of it. And in your display, you can see if you want to see permanent like that. Now I'm seeing my DEF fluid all the time at the bottom. I'm going to leave that right there. There we go. Go back to trip. So one thing you can do when you're in drive, so this is your stick shift for putting things in drive. You can also hit reverse, and you see there's your backup camera. You got the nice yellow lines that's going to help guide you when you back up and turn. You also have sort of a bird's eye view here, and anything that might be as your sensors are programmed and as they're sensing devices around you, vehicles and so forth, you'll get warnings around your rig to be able to tell you that. We can also change the way that looks in the backup. You see what I'm doing there? You can do that if you're wanting to guide into your hitch. So that's a nice little setting there. And then of course I like that one. That's going to kind of guide me as I back up and turn. So when I've got this driving and I'm in drive, you can always when you go to radio here, you can always go to navigation. You can go to radio. You can also hit camera, and temporarily that will show you the backup camera if you're just driving real slow in the parking lot. Now that's going to time out, and also if I go faster, it's going to shut off because they don't want the camera on when you're driving at high speeds as a distraction. And that's all through Mercedes. I can't change that. Okay. But when I'm in drive, if I'm down here and I'm in drive, I can use these paddle shifters at left and right on the wheel to hold it in a gear. So you can see there, I can go up in the gears manually. Fifth, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and then back to drive. So I can shift through the paddles. I can push in for my washer wipers. You can see these nice wipers. They got about a 1/2 inch pattern on the water. Really a complete coverage on that. So it's kind of nice to have that. So the panel on the right hand side over here. Oh, one more thing, cruise control's on the left as well. So when I turn that on, you'll see the cruise symbol at the faint top of the R on the cluster. And then when you want to set that and turn it on, you press up on set, and that'll set your speed. You also got cancel and resume, and then minus, so you can drop the speed down. Okay, so we're going to go back to the home position here. So you see I can control the radio now with my little scroll pad here on the right. So I can go to nav and not B. So when I want to go back to park, I can go to park when I'm stopped and standing still by just hitting in on the button. That'll take me to park. Or I can go up and then press it in. That'll take me to park. And on this one, if I've got it in drive, when I open up the door, you can see it jump to park automatically. So that's a safety item that's on the Mercedes chassis. So I've got the nav up right now, but I can go back home and then I can go to radio. I've also got Sirius radio on this too. You can subscribe to that, so you can call them and subscribe to it. Right now it's just a preview channel on that. We'll go back to radio. One of the things I want to show you on this thing is you can go back to home position. You can scroll over with your finger, and you can see a lot of the engine parameters here. So when I push engine, I can see a lot of torque and engine speed, battery voltage, oil pressure, all of these things. It's nice to get a glance of what's happening with your engine, especially if you're in the mountains and you're pulling a lot of weight or something like that with your tow car. Consumption, you can look at what the average miles per gallon. Here's another nice feature. When I'm stopped, and you want to pull up on that parking brake to park it, when you want to release this parking brake, you can see I've got the park symbol right here. Pull it up and then down. Okay, so that's going to release the park. Okay, right there. So pull it up, button down, and then you'll feel the tension as you go down. So that's taking it off right there. Got the home position here, and there's some other apps that you can hook up your smartphone to this. You can hook up the internet to this particular screen. We can also go to settings. Oh, let's go back to home. Let's go back to information, and you can pull up the operator's manual from the screen as well. And so we can go to the operator's manual, anything we want to learn about the chassis here. We can do that. We can continue here, and we can do like search, and we might find like oil replacement amount, oil and capacity, and that's going to give us right there. So we tell the grade of oil, what viscosity, and then we can tell the amount of oil that's in it. So this is a great little tool here, but you have to use that when you're stopped, okay? And that's the way they let you use it. We're going to go to settings. So I can go through here and change a lot of the settings that I have. And so like traffic sign assist, I can turn it off. I can turn it on. Let me show you another thing. System. Remember the Hey Mercedes? We can actually
How may I help you?
We can turn that on and off if we wanted to, right here. See that? So I just turned it off. Hey Mercedes. There we go. I'm gonna leave it on for now. So now you know where to turn that off at. You need to. There's just a lot of controls for audio, video, lights, everything you can go in and critique and change. And by the way, if you're wanting to look at your rig and look at details, you can do the 360 view of that. Isn't that kind of cool? So we can do right down here. We can quick access. And here we can look at some of the sensors, some of the things that we can change. Okay, keep lane assist. So we can go back here. I'm just going to go radio. And if you go to navigation, then you can say where to, and you can enter in an address if you need to. Points of interest, you can put in a home position. So there's a lot of things you can do with the nav system, but it's a nice big one, and that you can see a nice map, and you can squeeze that in if you want to. So some of these are called, I call them dummy buttons, but they're dumb buttons because I can just go to a feature by just hitting the button. I don't have to scroll, I don't have to use these. I still have a few buttons here that I can use. So you saw the backup camera there, radio, navigation, and then I can go to the home position. It takes me back home. And then I can press and hold this button at the right, and then I can turn off the system. And that's how you turn off the radio. So you could sit here and use it if you just were sitting here, and that turns it back on there. Okay. And so that just brought up some options down below it. And it just gave me the quick access that I would have had if I went through the menu there. Back to radio. So you can do volume here as well, or here. Either way, these vents open and close here. You can see I've got it on fan speed number 4. And I can control the temperature here. AC is turned on. This is my recirculate button, so that'll give you the best cooling in Texas anyway. And then I have my flashers here for emergency flashers. I got my rear defrost here, and then I can change. You can see the setting there. I can go from floor level to vent level to defrost level. I can also put temperature in the auto mode, so you can feel that kick up. Or I can manually control it here. Okay. That was the door opening button. There's airbags here, left and right. There's also the side curtain airbags, the ones in the pillar here. These seats also turn around, and they move around for you, so you can swivel them as part of your furniture. And let me go outside so I can do that. So up here we got some charging for our system. So one of the things they do is they give you an induction charger. You can set your phone up in there, and if you have an induction charger on your phone, that'll usually charge up your phone. Also the micro C connectors for your charging plugs, and one over here, and then we have a 12 over here on the left. Okay, so we can swivel these seats around. There's a little lever here in the front, so we would run this seat forward on the electric side here. We also want to run the back of it upright as much as we can, just straight up and right. and then you're going to release it here, one side, and now that seat will swivel around, and now I can run it back and use this as part of my furniture up here. So it just expands your living area. So that's great to have. So that's how we rotate the seat. And you can also go this way if you need to, but we always try to turn them on the inside to rotate them. Okay, that's a wrap. There's also little things up here like this. One more thing. Sunglass holder. We have our SOS. If you need to call, that will directly contact Mercedes in the event that you need first responders for some reason, if you have an accident or some other problem. Also, you have one for the technical side over here, for the service side right here. If you have a roadside assistance or something like that, you can also press that.
What would you like?
And that will contact Mercedes. It's still doing the Mercedes thing. So, and these have storage above them, cup holders in the front and in the side doors. So lots of neat things. And these are your dome lights here, so you can turn those on and off as needed. And there we go. Okay, that's a wrap.
Thanks for watching our video. If you have any questions, be sure to drop a comment below. Or if you have any suggestions on content you'd like to see, we'd love to hear about that. Go ahead and give us a like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks again from VOD RV.